Chapter 8, Action and Knowledge of Krishna. Na mam karmani limpanti, na me karma phale spriha. Iti mam yo bijanati, karma bir nasa bhadyate. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 14. The whole world is bound by karma. We all know of the existence of microbes or germs, which exist by the million within the measurement of 1 millimeter. In the Brahma Samhita it is stated that beginning with the microbe, which is called Indragopa, up to Indra, the king of the heavenly planets, all are bound by karma, the reaction of work. We all have to suffer or enjoy the reactions of our work, be they good or bad. As long as we have to suffer or enjoy these reactions, we are bound to these material bodies. By nature's arrangement, the material body is given to the living entity for his suffering or enjoying. Different types of bodies are acquired for different purposes. The body of a tiger is made for killing and eating raw meat. Similarly, the hogs are made in such a way that they can eat stool. And as human beings, our teeth are made for eating vegetables and fruits. All of these bodies are made according to the work done in past lives by the living entity. Our next bodies are being prepared according to the work which we are now doing, but in the previously quoted verse, Sri Krishna indicates that one who knows the transcendental nature of his activities becomes free from the reactions of activities. Our activities should be such that we will not again become entangled in this material world. This can be made possible if we become Krishna conscious, by studying Krishna, learning of the transcendental nature of his activities, and understanding how he behaves in this material world and in the spiritual world. When Krishna comes on this earth, he is not like us. He is totally transcendental. We desire the fruits of our activities, but Krishna does not desire any fruits, nor are there any reactions to his actions. Nor does he have any desire for fruitive activity. Na me karma phale spriha. When we enter into business, we hope for profit, and with that profit we hope to buy things that will make our life enjoyable. Whenever conditioned souls do something, there is desire for enjoyment behind it. But Krishna has nothing to desire. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is full with everything. When Krishna came on this earth, he had many girlfriends and over 16,000 wives. And some people think that he was very sensual, but this was not the fact. We must understand the meaning of relationships with Krishna. In this material world, we have many relationships as father, mother, wife, or husband. Whatever relationship we find here is but a perverted reflection of the relationship we have with the Supreme Lord. Whatever we find in this material world is born of the absolute truth, but here it is pervertedly reflected in time. Whatever relationship we have with Krishna goes on. If we have a relationship in friendship, that friendship is eternal and continues from life to life. In the material world, a friendship exists for a few years and then breaks. Therefore it is called perverted, temporal, or unreal. If we make our friendship with Krishna, it will never break. If we make our master Krishna, we will never be cheated. If we love Krishna as our son, he will never die. If we love Krishna as our lover, he will be the best of all, and there will be no separation. Because Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he is unlimited and has an unlimited number of devotees. Some are trying to love him as lover or husband, and therefore Krishna accepts this role. In whatever way we approach Krishna, he will accept us, as he states in Bhagavad Gita. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajami aham. Mama vartmanu vartante manusha partha sarvasha. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 11. The gopis, or cowherd girlfriends of Krishna, underwent tremendous penances in their previous lives to attain Krishna as their husband. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami says that those boys who were playing with Krishna had undergone great penances and austerities in their previous lives in order to acquire Krishna as a playmate. Thus the playmates, associates, and wives of Krishna are not ordinary living entities. Because we have no idea of Krishna consciousness, we take his activities as triflings, but actually they are sublime. All perfection of our desires is there. Whatever desires we have constitutionally will be perfectly fulfilled when we are in Krishna consciousness. Krishna did not need any friends to play with him, nor did he desire a single wife. We take on a wife because we have some desire to fulfill, but Krishna is complete in himself, Purnam. A poor man may desire to have $1,000 in the bank, but a rich man who has millions has no such desire. If Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why should he have desires? Rather, he fulfills the desires of others. Man proposes and God disposes. If Krishna had any desire, he would be imperfect, for he would be lacking something. Therefore, he says that he has no desire to fulfill. As Yogeshvara, or as master of all yogis, whatever he wills is immediately realized. There is no question of desire. He becomes a husband or lover or friend, just to fulfill the desires of his devotees. If we accept Krishna as friend, master, son, or lover, we will never be frustrated. Every living entity has a specific relationship with Krishna, but at present this relationship is covered. As we advance in Krishna consciousness, it will be revealed. Although the Supreme Lord is full and has nothing to do, he works in order to set an example. He is not bound to his activities in the material world, and one who knows this also becomes free from reactional activities. Evam gyatva kritam karma purvar api mumukshabhi kuru karmaiva tasmat tvam purvai purvataram kritam. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding, and so attained liberation. Therefore, as the ancients, you should perform your duty in this divine consciousness. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 15. The process of Krishna consciousness requires that we follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas, who have attained success in spiritual life. If one acts by following the examples set by great acharyas, sages, devotees, and enlightened kings, who have performed karma yoga in their lives, he shall also become free. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was very much afraid of being entangled in his activities by engaging in warfare. Krishna therefore assured him that if he fought for his sake, there would be no possibility of entanglement. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo pi atra mohita tate karma pravakshami yaj gyatva mokshase shubat. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all sins. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 16. People are actually confused as to what is work, karma, and what is not work, akarma. Krishna here indicates that even great scholars, kavaya, are bewildered about the nature of work. It is necessary to know which activities are genuine and which are not, which are bona fide and which are not, which are prohibited and which are not. If we understand the principle of work, we can become free from material bondage. It is therefore necessary to know how to conduct work, so that when we leave the material body, we will no longer be forced to take another, but will be free to enter into the spiritual sky. The principle of proper work is clearly stated by Sri Krishna in the last verse of the 11th chapter. Mat karma krin mat paramo mad bhakta sangha varjita nirvaira sarva bhuteshu yasa mam eti pandava. My dear Arjuna, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contamination of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, verse 55. This one verse is sufficient for understanding the essence of Bhagavad Gita. One must be engaged in my work. And what is this work? It is indicated in the last instruction in Bhagavad Gita, in which Krishna tells Arjuna to surrender unto him. Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, verse 66. By the example of Arjuna, we are to learn that we should only perform work which is sanctioned by Krishna. This is the mission of human life. But we do not know it. Because of our ignorance, we engage in so much work which is connected with the bodily or material conception of life. Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight, and although Arjuna did not want to fight, he fought because Krishna desired it. We have to learn to follow this example. Of course, Krishna was present to tell Arjuna what his work was. But what about us? Sri Krishna was personally directing Arjuna to act in such and such way. But just because Krishna is not personally present before us, we should not assume that there is no direction. Indeed, there is direction. In the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the proper work which we are to perform is given. Ye idam paramam guyam mad bhakteshva abhi dasyati. Bhaktyam mayi parankritva mam e vaishati asamshaya. Nacha tasman manusheshu kachin me priya kritama. Bhavita nacha me tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, verses 68 to 69. It is therefore incumbent upon us to preach the method of Bhagavad Gita and make people Krishna conscious. People are actually suffering for want of Krishna consciousness. We should all engage in spreading the science of Krishna for the benefit of the whole world. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with this mission of teaching Krishna consciousness, and he said that regardless of one's position, if he teaches Krishna consciousness, he is to be considered a spiritual master. Both Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are filled with information on how to become Krishna conscious. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu selected these two books and requested that people in all corners of the world spread this science of Krishna in every town and village. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna himself, and we should take this to be Krishna's indication of our proper work. But we should be careful to present Bhagavad Gita as it is, without personal interpretation or motivation. Some people present interpretations of Bhagavad Gita, but we should present the words as they are spoken by Sri Krishna. One who works for Krishna may appear to be working like anyone else in the material world, but this is not the case. Arjuna may have fought just like an ordinary military man, but because he fought in Krishna consciousness, he was free from the entanglement of his activities. In this way, his work, although appearing material, was not material at all. Any action sanctioned by Krishna, regardless of what it may be, has no reaction. Fighting may not be a very nice thing, but sometimes, as in the case of the Battle of Kurukshetra, it is an absolute necessity. On the other hand, we may perform work which may be very altruistic or humanitarian in the opinion of the world, and yet be bound to material activity. So it is not the action itself which is important, but the consciousness in which the action is carried out. Karmano hi api bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmana, akarmanash cha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gati. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 17. The path of karma is very intricate. Therefore we should understand the distinctions between karma, akarma, and vikarma. If we simply engage in Krishna consciousness, everything becomes clear. Otherwise we will have to make distinctions between what we should do and what we should not do in order not to become entangled. In the ordinary course of life we unknowingly break some law and have to suffer the consequences. Similarly, the laws of nature are very strict and stringent, and they accept no excuse. It is a law of nature that fire burns, and even if a child touches it, he will be burned, despite his ignorance and innocence. Thus we have to choose our course of action very carefully, lest the stringent laws of nature react to bind us to suffering. It is therefore necessary to understand what work to do and what work to avoid. The word karma refers to prescribed duties. The word vikarma refers to activities which are against one's prescribed duties. And the word akarma refers to activities which have no reaction at all. In the execution of akarmic activities, there may appear to be some reactions, but in actuality there are not. When we work on the directions of Krishna, this is actually the case. There are no reactions. If we take it upon ourselves to kill someone, we are subject to capital punishment by the state government. Our actions are then called vikarma, for they are against prescribed actions. If, however, the government drafts us into the army, and we engage in battle and kill someone, we do not suffer the reactions, and this is called akarma. In the one case we are acting according to our whims, and in the other we are acting under the direction of the government. Similarly, when we act under the direction of Krishna, our actions performed are called akarma, for that kind of activity has no reaction. Karmani akarma ya pashyad, akarmani cha karma ya, sa buddhiman manusheshu, sa yukta kritsna karma krit. One who sees inaction in action, and action in inaction, is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 18. One who can actually see that despite activities there are no karmic reactions, who understands the nature of a karma, actually sees things as they are. The word akarmani refers to one who is trying to avoid the reactions of karma. By dovetailing his activities in Krishna consciousness, although one may perform all kinds of activities, he is free. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna engaged in fighting, and those on the side of Duryodhana also engaged in fighting. We must understand how it is that Arjuna is free from reaction, whereas Duryodhana is not. Externally, we can see that both parties are engaged in fighting, but we should understand that Arjuna is not bound by reactions, because he is fighting under the order of Krishna. Thus, when we see someone working in Krishna consciousness, we should understand that his work does not carry any reaction. One who can see such work and understand it is to be considered very intelligent. Sa buddhiman. The technique is not so much in seeing what a person is doing, but in understanding why he is doing it. Actually, Arjuna was engaged in very unpleasant activity on the battlefield, but because he was in Krishna consciousness, he suffered no reaction. We may be performing some action which we may consider to be very good work, but if we do not perform it in Krishna consciousness, we have to suffer the reactions. From the material point of view, Arjuna's initial decision not to fight was a good one, but from the spiritual point of view, it was not. When we do pious work, we get certain results. We may take a birth in a very good family, in the family of a Brahmin or a wealthy man. We may become very rich or very learned, or we may become very beautiful. On the other hand, if we do impious work, we may have to take birth in a low-class family or animal family, or become illiterate or foolish or very ugly. Although we engage in very pious work and take a good birth, we will still be subject to the stringent laws of action and reaction. Our principal aim should be to escape the laws of this material world. If we don't understand this, we will become attracted by aristocratic families, wealth, or a good education, or a beautiful body. We should come to understand that despite having all these facilities for material life, we are not free from birth, old age, disease, and death. To caution us of this, Sri Krishna warns in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar avartino rajuna, mam upetya tu kaunteya, punar janma na vijate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, verse 16. Even on Brahmaloka, the highest planet in the material universe, repetition of birth and death are also present. We have to go to Krishna's planet in order to be free from this. It may be very nice to be a rich man or a beautiful man, but how long shall we remain such? That is not our permanent life. We may remain learned, rich, and beautiful for 50, 60, or at most 100 years. But real life is not for 50 or 100 years, nor 1,000 years, nor even 1,000,000 years. We are eternal, and we have to attain our eternal life. That we have not attained it is our whole problem. That problem can be solved when we are Krishna conscious. If we leave this material world in Krishna consciousness, we will no longer have to return to the material world. The point is to avoid this material existence altogether. It is not a question of improving our condition in the material world. In prison, a man may want to improve his condition to become a first-class prisoner. and the government may give him A status. But no sane man will become satisfied by becoming an A-class prisoner. He should desire to get out of the prison altogether. In the material world, some of us are A-class, B-class, or C-class prisoners. But in any case, we are all prisoners. Real knowledge does not consist in simply getting an MA or PhD, but in understanding these basic problems of existence. Yasya sarve samaramba kama sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagda karmanam tam ahu panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker whose fruitive action is burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 19. The word panditam means learned, and buddha means well-versed. In the 10th chapter, we also find the word buddha in the verse Buddha Bhavasamanvita, Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, verse 8. According to Bhagavad Gita, one may not be a learned man just because he has received a lot of education from a university. Bhagavad Gita says that he is a learned man who can see everything on an equal level. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast. Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, verse 18. In India, according to Vedic civilization, a Brahmin who is learned is considered to be the topmost man in human society. The Pandit who is learned and gentle sees such a Brahmin on the same level with a dog or an outcast who eats dogs. In other words, he sees no distinctions between the highest and the lowest. Is this to say that being a learned Brahmin is no better than being a dog? No, that is not so. But the Pandit sees them as the same because he does not see the skin, but the spirit. One who has learned the art of seeing the same spirit soul within every living being is considered to be a Pandit, for in actuality, every living being is a spiritual spark, part and parcel of the complete spirit whole. The spiritual spark is the same in all, but it is covered by different dresses. An honored man may come in a very shabby dress, but this does not mean that he should be dishonored. In Bhagavad Gita, these material bodies are likened unto dresses, which are worn by the spirit soul. Vasam si jirnani yata vihaya navani grinati naro parani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, similarly the soul accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, verse 22. Whenever we see any living entity, we should think, here is a spirit soul. Anyone who can understand such a spiritual vision of life is a Pandit. Chanakya Pandit gives the standard for education, or the qualification for a Pandit in this way. The learned man sees all women, with the exception of his wife, as his mother. He sees all material possessions as garbage in the street, and he looks on the sufferings of others as he would look on them in himself. Lord Buddha taught that we should not even hurt animals by word or deed. This is the qualification for a Pandit, and this should be the standard of life. It is therefore to be understood that one is to be considered educated in accordance with his vision of life, and his activity in accordance with that vision, not by his academic degrees. This is the understanding of the word Pandit from Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, the word Buddha specifically refers to one who is well versed in the study of Scripture. The results of such realization and scriptural learning are thus described in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, verse 8. The well-versed person, or Buddha, is one who has understood that Krishna is the origin of all emanations. Whatever we happen to see is but an emanation of Krishna. For millions and millions of years, sunshine has been emanating from the sun, and yet the sun is as it is. Similarly, all material and spiritual energies are coming from Krishna. As a result of knowing this, one becomes a devotee of Krishna. Thus, one who knows that he must work in Krishna consciousness, who no longer desires to enjoy this material world, is actually learned. Everyone is working in the material world due to lust, kama, but the wise man is free from the dictations of this lust, kama sankalpa varjita. How is this possible? Jnanagni dagda karmanam. The fire of knowledge burns up all reactions of sinful activities. It is the most potent of purifiers. Our lives have meaning and direction only insofar as we strive to attain this transcendental knowledge of Krishna consciousness, Raja Vidya, which is the king of all knowledge.